Hello everyone. A window made by hand, almost without any tools and certainly without any machines. A window without wood or plastic, which anyone can make in half an hour. No skills are required for making it at all. A window that I truly believe can compete for the title of the cheapest and easiest window to make in the world. As part of the project, a house costing only $1,000 with an area of 50 square meters, which is just 1,080 Russian rubles, I have already made 5 types of simple, very simple, and dirt cheap windows. And I thought I was done with them, but suddenly I had an idea. I couldn't stop. I hope this information will be very useful for many people, especially in the current conditions, which clearly don't promise us bright, financially prosperous prospects in the foreseeable future. I'm marking out the future window, which I decided to place exactly in the middle of the wall facing west, under the staircase leading to the second floor. At the chosen height, I drew a horizontal line. The window will be small. I want to test the method on it first. A serious struggle for personal well-being lies ahead. That's why I suggest, without delay, subscribing to the channel Songs and Yasha Kosyak. In this situation, for those of us who make things, it's better to stick together. And also, I've been asked for a long time, people have been asking me for a while, about installing windows in budget walls, so now I'll show you. I find the center between the frame studs. I use a ready-made insulated glass unit. I also find the center on it. I align both centers and mark the corners. I add about 7 millimeters to each side and draw a rectangle, which, thanks to the added millimeters, ends up being slightly larger than the size of the insulated glass unit. As a reminder for regular viewers, and for new viewers, I'll mention that the walls that fill the space between the frame studs are made of extruded polystyrene foam, with a plaster mixture applied to both sides using an alkali-resistant plaster fiberglass mesh for reinforcement. This mixture is used for gluing polystyrene and mineral wool boards to building facades and for creating a reinforced plaster layer on these boards. The walls produced in this way become a composite material that utilizes the effect of a sandwich panel. They are quite strong. With a polystyrene core thickness of just 3 cm, the thermal insulation characteristics achieved are comparable to those of wooden beam walls that are 15 to 20 centimeters thick. I learned this from comparisons. There are many comparison tables available online, and for my lightweight house with a record low budget, which I'm building in the relatively mild Belarusian climate, I consider this sufficient. By increasing the thickness of the polystyrene used, you can easily improve these characteristics for any harsh climate. Despite the lightness and apparent fragility of the wall, making a hole in it for a window takes some effort. Cement-containing mixtures reach their full strength within 28 days, and now the strength is much higher than in the first days after the walls were made. The triple-pane insulated glass unit is only slightly thinner than the walls of my house. Why did I go back to using a ready-made insulated glass unit when making this window? In almost all the previous window versions I made, except for the very first one, I made the insulated glass unit myself using different methods. But those options are good when the glass is obtained for free or for next to nothing, for example from old worn-out wooden frames. I've noticed the following trend. If you have to buy glass, nowadays dealers charge some crazy prices for it, unreal amounts of money. I think it's because in recent decades, people have pretty much stopped making their own windows, and accordingly stopped glazing them themselves. They just buy ready-made plastic ones with insulated glass units. And now glass cutting services are considered exclusive, rarely needed services. That's what drove up the prices for glass. But before, glass cutting shops were everywhere. I've already mentioned that if you find the nearest double-glazed unit manufacturer and get access to their storage, you can easily buy defective double-glazed units, ones with size errors, for at least half price, and they'll cost less than buying new glass. That's how I got this double-glazed unit and reserved another dozen. spring, beauty all around, and spring potholes in the roads. This year, here in Homel region, they're in no hurry at all to do any patchwork repairs. Some of the potholes are already half a wheel deep. In our post-Soviet space, there's a spirit of recreating the USSR. The numerous potholes on the roads might be the first signs that something has gone wrong. Don't be afraid. Maybe with a running start, no. Or maybe the local authorities just don't care about the road. You'll also need a small amount of mounting hardware. Right now, there are still many options. In the USSR, there would have been only one, and getting it would have been difficult. The USSR was a paradise for slackers, who could always justify their inaction by the lack of materials. On the other side, I temporarily screwed on 2 slats so the glass unit wouldn't fall out. The next simple steps don't need any commentary. To save as much as possible, I bought a small can of spray foam, but even that might be enough for many such windows. I haven't seen small cans for the foam gun I'm used to, and it's impossible to dispense the foam precisely. I definitely used too much. Next, you'll need any strips of the same thickness. You can use cutoffs of plastic corners or pieces of cable duct for this purpose. I'll be using cutoffs of aluminum spacer bars from double glazed windows, which I got for free from the same place as the window unit. They have perforations, small holes. Silica gel is poured inside. It absorbs water well and dries the air so the double glazed windows don't fog up on the inside. It's basically aluminum foil, but when glued to the glass, it forms a fairly strong structure. Pretty clever, really. In short, you need any straight slats with the thickness you want for your future casings. Next, I wanted to buy ready-made wooden casings, and I even went to get them. The Belarusian ruble's exchange rate crashed in February, prompting sellers to hike prices. Although the rate nearly returned to its previous level, prices stayed high. So it's definitely not about the exchange rate, but about the cunning sellers. I pictured myself reluctantly spending my hard-earned money on a cheaply made wooden window casing, and chose an almost free alternative. By the way, in this kind of window, the casing is purely decorative. It's just a matter of habit for us. I attached the strips with double-sided tape. The casings will be 7 centimeters wide. For a longer lifespan of the double-glazed unit, it's best to protect the black strip around the perimeter from exposure to sunlight. And our casing, made using the dovetail technique, will cover it. I'm mixing the compound that I used for making the walls. By the way, tile adhesive should also work. We used it to apply the brick texture to the house walls and to our Euro outhouse with the letters M and F at the end of the lot. These strips are made from leftover plaster fiberglass mesh used in the house walls. At first, I tried to level the mortar applied between the slats as much as I could, but the mixture is sticky and viscous, so I used the tapping method, which we had already used to achieve an abstract texture when decorating to imitate brickwork. Let me remind you that our outdoor Euro outhouse is made from such homemade composite walls without any frame at all. Only the door frame and the door trim are made from thin wooden slats. By the way, it made it through the winter perfectly. Here is some footage to prove it. Before winter, I covered the roof with a layer of waterproofing. I glued on a metal drip edge and sealed the lower joint with waterproofing. There wasn't the slightest crack. It's standing solid as a rock. For those who want to criticize such windows, let me remind you about the use of glass blocks, which are installed directly on mortar. The spaces filled with them are also considered windows. This type of glazing can be called frameless. This isn't a new invention, it's already used in frame house construction. But when using walls of this design, you don't have to align the window placement with the frame studs at all, which is much more convenient. They consider it an excellent option for quickly creating a fixed window. If you don't count the time needed for the trim to set, such a window will only take half an hour of your time. Around the double glazed unit, there is a wall with a core made of polystyrene foam, which you could say serves as the frame. That's why I believe this type of window can rightfully be called a polystyrene foam window. If you need windows that open, check out the YouTube channel Pesniyashi Koshika playlist Dom za $1000. There you'll find at least 4 very simple ways to make opening windows, also without using machines and using the most accessible materials. So give a big thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, follow me on Zen and TikTok, the links are under the video. There are also links to videos about the Dom za $1000 project. Also hit the bell and then I'll definitely keep you informed. May peace reign throughout the world. Thank you.